Hey guys, it's Mrs. Yeagle, and I'm here to read to you the other half of chapter 6. I'm starting on page 75. We just left off where the girls were arguing in the bathroom about how they were going to get away from the Nazis, basically. So, hush now, we don't want the Germans overhearing us. I want to shout that she's the one hurling accusations at me, but I sew my lips shut. Sparring with Sabine won't keep us safe. It's risky enough that we're talking in here. We have to change cars, I say. That would look even more suspicious. If he recognizes me, though, we're done for. Then you better convince him that you're truly Fleurette and not anyone else. She huffs and unbuttons the top button of her blouse. And I'll do what I can to distract him. But if he... Here's some advice, she says, like she always does. Then she hands me a few tissues to place in my brassiere. You've been given assets. Use them. When we return to our seats, Sabine employs every one of her own assets and presses the entire left side of her body against Schuster's. Did you miss us? She says. Schuster goes a little slack-jawed, but it isn't long before his gaze crawls toward me once again. My cheeks warm, and I pretend to giggle at some joke that Captain Oster is telling. You are gone for nearly an eternity. Captain Oster pulls me toward him, so close that I can smell the brandy on his breath. Beyond the window, I notice our train pulling into the station at Lisson. Thankfully, it won't be long until we reach Cherbourg. If I can keep Schuster at bay until then, we'll be fine. If not... Captain Oster prattles on about making plans for dinner, but Schuster ignores him and leans forward, a hard look in his eyes. Have we met before? He asks me. My heart jumps. Have we? No, I don't believe so. You look familiar. I'm very good with faces. That he is, says Captain Oster. Friedrich has one of those, what are they called? Photographic memories. Just my luck, I think, but I have to keep playing my part. Perhaps you attended a club where I've sung, Lieutenant. Are you familiar with Le Grand Duc or Syros? Oh, Syros! Sabine jumps in. She must have heard the accusation in Schuster's tone, and now she's trying to draw his attention away from me. We should go there together, Lieutenant. We'll have so much fun. What do you think? Schuster ignores her bait and stares back at me. I swear that we've met. Fleurette often gets mistaken for others, Sabine says, hooking her arm around Schuster's. Why, just yesterday a girl stopped us on the street because she thought Fleurette looked exactly like her sister. Remember that? She laughs, but for some reason Schuster shoves her away from him. What did you say? He says to Sabine. She falters. Whatever do you mean? I heard you. His head snaps toward mine. Sister. My pulse stops. Schuster's spine tightens like a tuned guitar string, and Sabine's eyes widen at her mistake. Schuster shoots out of his seat and drags me out of my own by my wrists. I knew I'd seen you before! I turn my frantic eyes toward Captain Oster. Maybe Schuster will listen to him. Please, Lothar! Your friend is mistaken. Tell him. Captain Oster sloppily tries to rise to his feet. Wait one moment there, Frederick. That's no way to treat our new friend. Open your blasted eyes! These girls aren't your friends, you fool! Schuster yells. The entire train car is now staring at us. Our cover is completely blown. The train begins moving again, causing Schuster to wobble, and I break free from his grip. But he's quick to shout, Detain her! The soldiers erupt from their seats. Two of them stalk toward me with their hands on their holstered pistols, while another shouts at Sabine to hold up her hands. Close off the exits, Schuster cries. I search for Sabine, and she nods at me. There's only one choice left. I duck from one soldier's outstretched hands and dive the heel of my palm into his nose. Blood pours out of his nostrils, and I hear him curse, but a broken nose won't be enough to stop him. I ram an elbow into his gut, and when he stumbles back, I clip him on the head with one fierce kick, knocking him unconscious. Next to me, Sabine punches Schuster in the throat, and I see a little satisfied smirk on her face, and she brings a knee into his groin. He crumbles onto the floor, but before she can finish him off with a single-shot pistol pen from her blouse lapel, another soldier charges toward her, and he receives a bullet in the forehead instead. The Nazis open fire. The case! Sabine hisses at me. I leap for the guitar case and throw it open, but Captain Oster yanks me by the arm before I can reach for the secret compartment. I'm ready to punch him when he says, Who are you? Before I can respond, a gurgle comes out of his mouth, followed by a splatter of blood. The drops spray onto my blouse, and then his whole body careens forward, tumbling next to my feet. There's a bullet hole in the back of his head, round and gaping. I look up to find Sabine tossing one pen aside and pulling out another. "Move!" she says. There's no time to gape at what's left of Captain Oster. While we dodge gunfire, I fire off both of my single-shot pens before grabbing the 2 loaded pistols from the case. I toss one to Sabine. We take aim and hit a soldier in the chest, but their shots keep coming, whistling closer and closer to our ears. "We have to get off!" I shout over the gunfire. The train is picking up speed. If we don't escape soon, we'll break our legs trying to make the jump, and the Nazis will happily arrest us. And I'm sure they won't reset our broken bones. "Get the tear gas ready," Sabine says. "I'll cover you." There's no time to discuss other options. I dart for the back of the car, but a soldier's fingers claw at my ankle, trying to trip me. I yank out the sheathed dagger at my thigh and slash open his knuckles. He cries out and lets me go, and I sprint down the walkway, leaving behind my guitar case and the valise full of Fleurite's silks. Bolting through the door, I scurry into the narrow vestibule between the train cars. I use one hand to fumble for my tear gas pen, while the other hand fires my remaining rounds to cover for Sabine. A heartbeat later, she hurls herself through the door, landing hard next to me with her purse bundled under her arm. "Now!" she says. I yank off the pen cap, which sets off the canister of gas inside it, and I toss it back into the first-class car. A white gas spews forth, and I hear the soldier screaming and coughing before I slam the door behind us. The tear gas should buy us some time, but how much of it, I don't know. A few minutes at most. "This way!" Sabine says. For once, I listen to her without protesting. I hike up my skirt to free my legs, and we speed into the next car, leaping over the surprised passengers and their luggage that idles in the aisle. When we reach the end of the train, I hear a faint shout behind us. "They're coming!" I yell to Sabine. 2 soldiers are stumbling toward us, still coughing from the gas, but pursuing us nonetheless. I throw my dagger at the first, and the blade hits home, plunging below his collarbone. He falls to his knees with a scream, but the other soldier merely leaps over him and keeps coming for us. "To the back!" Sabine tells me. We hurtle through the door that leads outside. The wind snatches at our hair and tosses strands of our wigs into our faces. I tear the whole thing off and let it fly out of my hands. The ground beneath us is a dizzying blur, and I remember the L-pill in my pocket. But we can still make it off this train. Sabine pushes me forward until my stomach hits the railing, the last barrier between me and the tracks. "Don't lock your knees," she tells me. "Wait! There's no time!" She turns back to fire around, and I quash the alarm lodged in my throat. Calm and collected. Calm and collected. Oh, never mind. I clamber over the rail. The wind blasts against my body, stealing tears from my eyes, and even though I haven't done it in months, I make the sign of the cross. "Hail Mary, full of grace," I whisper. With that prayer on my lips, I jump. Do you know what I think is super interesting about this page here? Is that it goes from these really long paragraphs to these right here. Calm and collected. Calm and collected. And it's almost like the action is building so fast, and then it slows down while she's gathering her thoughts. And then she jumps. That is a super, super cool technique that authors use, and you should look for that next time you read.